kindly keep your mobile phones in a switched off mode. Thank you.
There is a question here. In fact, it's a series of questions, not one question. But they are all very good questions. First is, are Vedas history? The word history has many meanings, so I cannot immediately say yes or no. But if by history is meant something that has happened, a story of what has happened, then there does not seem any doubt that the Vedic texts do exist now before us, and they could not be supposed to have arrived before us without there having been somewhere in the past their origin. In that sense, Vedas form part of a long past history of the world. Vedas are supposed to be the most ancient texts available in the world. When they were composed, how they were composed, where they were composed, are still questions being debated. And they are very interesting questions, but I do not like to enter into controversies of this kind because I find there are no crucial facts. And people who are debating, they are debating on conjectures based upon conjectures. So it becomes somewhat a futile exercise unless we get some crucial facts before us. Then it becomes very interesting. But for our purpose, it is enough to know that history of India is traced back to a time when Vedic lore was abroad in India. And there are legends, there are stories which have been told regarding rishis, their lives and so on. And then there are commentaries available on the Vedas. And the earliest are, of course, the Brahmanas themselves are the commentary, first commentary on the Vedas. And then Upanishads also are supposed to be a kind of a commentary on the Vedas. And therefore, it is clear that Vedas predated Brahmanas and Brahmanas predated Upanishads. This much is quite clear if we study the history of India and Indian culture. Of course, there is a theory that Vedas are eternal, and they were always there. It's not as if they came into being one day or over a certain stretch of time. To my mind, this is a truth, but a spiritual truth in the sense that the word that is used is the eternal Veda. And it is said that eternal Veda is secret in the heart of every living human being. and that the knowledge that is in the Veda is not merely the text of the Veda, but it manifests itself whenever there is a certain stage of development of man and is in need of moving forward, and then it manifests itself. This is a theory, and if I accept the lives of many spiritual people and what they have said, I am inclined to accept that in that sense Vedas are eternal. The Vedic truths are manifested, and there is also a view that Vedas are not only eternal but also infinite. Vedaha anantaha. So to say that these Vedas are only these 4 texts that we find is also not actually spiritually true. In a sense, we might say that whenever a human being develops into a certain state of consciousness, attains rishihood, the truths of eternal life, the truths of movement, and even the truth as to what ought to be done in a given situation is also revealed. So in that sense, you may say that Vedas are eternal and infinite. Another question is it possible that some Agastya is talking even today to Indra and getting similar responses? I personally think that Vedic texts are records of certain experiences, and these experiences happen to be repeated in human cycle, and therefore they are very useful to human beings in the journey. They do pass through stages which have been described in the dialogue between Agastya and Indra, and we do go through. In fact, it is said that the Pitaras, the forefathers, accomplished a yajna, a kind of a sacrifice, and they brought about certain results. But they again get repeated. You have to do it again and again and again, because there is in this world a cycle, and this cycle moves in such a way that a certain principle is worked out, then the details are worked out, then the further details are worked out, and then further details are worked out. It is said, for example, Durga comes every year to destroy the demons. She destroys the demons now this year, and then again there is a story that demons have the capacity to give birth to their further progeny, and then they again begin to disturb the world, and again Durga comes back, and again she destroys them, and she protects the bhaktas. Now this is a belief in India, and it is a fact that until all the details of Asuric progeny is worked out, this has to be repeated. So in that sense, you might say that even today Agastya is talking to Indra and Indra is replying. The third question is, the knowledge in Vedas is supposed to be included of everything. When something is discovered by modern science, people say that it is already mentioned in the Vedas. This is a question of which I have no answer in one way or the other. if you say that by knowledge is meant Veda, then it is true. But if you mean Veda means knowledge, then there is a problem, because the text that we have of the Veda, that text, how can we say it is a full text? Even historically we know that this text is only an anthology. Vyasa made an anthology at a given time out of the prevalent ritas which must have been very widely circulating at that time. And Vyasa, given his forevision of the times that were to come, and to protect that knowledge, he made a Sanhita, he made an anthology. So I cannot say that all that is to be known is in the Veda. At the same time, to say that Vedas are only barbaric prayers, that also is a falsehood. And to say that Veda contains only spiritual knowledge and no other knowledge, that also is not true. There is, for example, I always refer to this very interesting verse in the Rig Veda. There is the Mandala 6 of Bhardwaj, and there is a very interesting statement. It is addressed to Agni, but it's a very interesting statement. It says, A bhanuna parthivani triyansi mahastu dasya risata tatantra. It says, thou hast spread out the earthly speed ranges by thy light. You take only one sentence of this kind. Thou hast spread out the earthly speed ranges by thy light. It is 6th mandala, 6th sukta and 6th verse. Very easy to remember from this point of view. 666. Thou hast spread out the earthly speed ranges by thy light. That is to say, all the other speed ranges in the world which are earthly are lesser than the speed of light. So, the speed of light, as far as the physical speed is concerned, there may be other speeds even higher than the physical speed. As it is said, consciousness has a speed greater than the speed of light. But it is Parthivani, the earthly speeds ranges. It is a very significant word. Thou hast spread out the earthly speed ranges by thy light. Now, how did the Vedic rishis, how did they come to know that there are earthly speed ranges? That is itself a wonderful statement. To say that there was a concept of earthly speed ranges, and it says all the speed ranges. It is not only a few speed ranges, all the earthly speed ranges. That means that they are aware of all kinds of speeds in the world. And then it is also aware